Right. Apparently I had no sound there. Hopefully you can hear me now. Let's just make sure that that's... Let me check that. Right. Hopefully you've got me back again now. Yes. Sorry, everybody. That ruined that joke at the beginning then, didn't it? See? Right. Evening all. What I was saying is, Tina Weston, I can't believe you let this one happen. The countdown begins, can't wait. I love that the countdown begins and you can't wait, but it's the countdown begins. You know it. There should be a dash between the E and the G there. But welcome to episode 57. Great to see you piling in with all the comments. Tony Olds watching on YouTube by the looks of it. Evening, Castle Combe TV. Tim Perry, good evening, everyone. Dilly, not long to go now. I know it really isn't, is it? Steve Weston will be on in a little bit, and we'll talk about the season ahead and the bits and pieces happening. Paul Wiltshire, evening all. And you'll see that Castle Combe Circuit has put Read Our David George tribute here, and you'll be able to see that, and we'll come on to that. I'm going to play a video in a minute, and got a very, very special guest that's going to come in and have a chat about a mutual friend of ours, as he really is, mutual friend of all of ours. Getting nearer by the day. Look at this, all you people saying no noise. See, that's what you people dream of. You got me now. Better. See, Carl Alden says better. Now, I don't know whether you did that before or after I brought the sound back, to be honest with you. Same as Tim Perry. You may have said that before I put it back. Nigel Forrest up at Alton Park. Evening, Chris. Yes, can hear you. Gin. Gin indeed, my friend. Welcome to the show, mate. Rob Drew, another one of our Mighty Orange Army. Evening, all. Stuart Tinker Taylor, good evening. Chris from the Fuffer Lover. He is. He loves his Formula Fords. PS can't hear you. Hopefully you can now, mate. Keith Rain, good evening, everyone. The season's almost upon us. Hooray. It certainly is, mate. Are you down start line again? I still love it when I put your picture up that you've got our T-shirt, the Dilly T-shirt on as well. Matt Coyle, the Saloon Car Championship Coordinator. Good evening, everyone, and our very own Emma Strawford. Hey, all. Hi, Em. Welcome to the show. Now, we need to start off with something that we all really hit us hard this year. I know that he has been, this month, sorry, I know that he's been very, very unwell, but you still kind of put off what you know is going to happen at some point. But sadly, we have lost David George. Now, I'm just going to play a video, and we're going to spend a little while talking about this, the voice of Castle Combe. On February the 5th, 2022, we received the sad news that we lost the voice of Castle Combe, David George. After 45 years of commentating and in excess of 5 decades of working with the circuit in different forms, he will be very sadly missed. His enthusiasm, his excitement, his chuckle ringing from the old paddock commentary box is something that got so many of us absolutely hooked on motor racing and hooked on Castle Combe Circuit. For me, that went even further because it got me hooked on commentating, and he supported me when I was lucky enough to join him and the commentary team. My only sadness is that I didn't get to co-commentate with him more than I actually did.
Then it's Mark Watton in the 84, Carlton Williams, and the rest streaming through, just having a look there to see where Mark Fennell was, because Mark's had a bad day yesterday. He had a loss of power due to a split intercooler pipe, and today he's got that sorted, and hopefully the power is back on again.
He will be gone but not forgotten. That is very clear. So many people will always remember him walking the paddock with clipboard and programme in hand, chatting with everybody that he classed as friends. He used to race himself, so he had an understanding of it. He was passionate as everybody that spent their waking hours at the circuit. And yes, fine, he used that information in his commentary. But he could never get enough of the racing and the people within it. And it's us and as people within it that will remember David George forever. The voice of Castle Combe may be gone, but never forgotten. Rest in peace, David George. Well, understandably, quite a choke up from that one, to say the least. And I hope I've done him some justice with the words there, and it's the very least I can do. For those of you who are able to, his funeral is open to everybody, and it would be lovely to get as many of us as possible there. It is in Bristol. If you again go to the Castle Combe circuit.co.uk, go to the news page, and the David George tribute is there. And I'm pretty certain that the link to his with the details of David George. In fact, I'm just quickly going to copy this now because it buys me time as well. But I've just posted. Hopefully that goes to all of the different things where it will see the David George much loved, and it is the details. I will be, which when you consider how I'm doing now, is that quite an ask, but absolutely humbling is that his wife Dot contacted me and asked me to say a few words as well. Not the eulogy, obviously, but I am saying a few words there. David George, someone that was just so supportive, really, really helped me in the early stages. And as a 5-year-old sat at Quarry Corner, he was one half of the voices, that got me absolutely hooked on both motor racing and Castle Combe circuit. And I'm delighted to say I'm one half of that. Not the circumstances we'd have liked, and I am going to do another show in due course with this gentleman and someone I'm very lucky to class as a friend as well. It's the other half of the voices of Castle Combe. I'm going to bring in Richard Davis. Richard, so good to see you, my friend. Not the circumstances either of us would like, but I think we mutually are fond of the great man.
Indeed. That was, if I might say so, rather nice. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you. And I think that's both of us. You can hear it in both of our voices that just caught us a little bit. I thought I was all composed, but it got me there as well. Richard, it really is so special to have you on. The two of you were the voices of Castle Combe for so many of us, and I know that you hate it because it makes me age you every time I say that. But
yes.
When David George started at the very last race meeting in 1973, which upset you when I reminded you it was as long ago as that, but because you had actually already been commentating prior to that, hadn't you?
Yes, indeed. I was, shall we say, involved with the circuit and dragged into it very happily, I might add. I can't remember the exact year, but certainly it's the late 60s. And I'd known Howard Strawford in a competitive spirit since the 1950s, when he used to drive a very hotly modified Austin A35, to which the people who aren't over 40 some odd years of age will say, what the hell is an Austin A35? But it was one of the cars that you used to tune up and make it go well. But yeah, I got to Combe in the late 60s, and I was kind of lucky enough to take over from a guy called Nick Corey. But David joined, and immediately, seriously, it became very much like Morecambe and Wise. We became joined at the hip. And you know, as a commentator yourself, that one of the great things is when two people can talk to each other and at the same time not over-talk each other and just know when to automatically cross over. And David was perfect at that. He was absolutely great. And also the fact that he'd got racing experience with his Mini, which of course we used to pull his leg like mad, you know, because he'd turn around in the middle of the Mini race and say, well, I don't know what he's doing. I wouldn't have done that. And we'd all go, oh God, here we go again. But he enjoyed that. He enjoyed that. It was Mickey taking, meant with the best of reasons behind it, to a complete enthusiast. And that was David. Absolutely magic.
I know as well that I'm sure that people that are watching this now are going to be just loving the fact that hearing your voice again as well, because those were the two voices. I used to make the comment that you could blindfold me, drive me, and then kick me out of the car at the circuit, and then hear yours and David voices come out of the speakers. I would know exactly where I was. So I know that there is going to be so many of the viewers now listening to your voice and just being taken back. I mean, he was such a humble man, though, wasn't he? Because he was so. I remember that I sort of did the interviewing for a little while to start with, as you'd expect. You got to sort of do the ropes, and he would be over. He loved the old paddock, preferred that, and we'll come on to that in a minute. But it took a while before I actually got to co-commentate. So I was in the main box and him over there, and I opened up with this big diatribe about the fact that I was like humbled that I'm actually at last getting to speak to the voice that I'd grown up, and he didn't really know what to do with that. He didn't realize, and his family are finding this now, he didn't realize, and you might be able to relate to this, just how popular he was.
Oh, absolutely. It comes across, and he came across because of his love of motor cars, love of talking about his events and his experiences to all sorts of people. And certainly David was one of the most approachable. I mean, let's be quite blunt. And I know that not all commentators are very approachable. No problems at all. He'd stop and talk to absolutely everybody. And socially, I didn't have, because he's in Bristol and I was across in Monmouth, and we didn't meet that often. But when we did, the hours just used to melt away, absolutely. And we talk about the drivers, the marshals, what's happening at Combe, the background noise that we all know, and the chatter that goes on. And yes, a humble man and absolutely fantastic character.
No, agreed, and thank you everybody for the comments coming in. Obviously, a lot of you it's hit, and thank you for the comments. That I hope it was, a tribute that was worthy of him. And I took a risk there with putting a bit of his commentary voice in. I managed to find from a video. Because it kind of strikes a nerve, but I just thought it was worth putting. That's why I know a lot of people love hearing your voice as well, Richard. But you also admitted earlier when we were speaking, you commentated at the circuit for, what was it, 26
years? Yeah.
Which kind of is just mind blowing. That puts into perspective his 45 years is incredible, isn't it?
Absolutely amazing. And I think his old paddock commentary box was rebuilt twice, because it's certainly rebuilt once, because when it rained, which, let's face it, at Castle Combe it often does, terrible. And I can still remember one August Monday meeting when, in fact, we had snow going down the main straight. I mean, ridiculous, but that's Britain. And the commentary box, it used to be wetter inside than outside, and eventually Howard relented and got some material put onto the box so that David's programme didn't get quite as wet as it used to.
No, and I remember reading a story actually that he was saying that I think in the early stages that it was on scaffolding that kind of had to be sort of dug into the ground to give it any kind of stability. And there had been a storm, and they went round there ready to commentate, and it was gone, and it was like some kind of portaloo, but without the loo in it. And so they decided to sit outside instead.
Oh yeah, well, it must have been a good day, but yeah, I remember that. And then it was upgraded and made much nicer, and David, of course, doing commentary, and ably assisted, if I might say so, by Tony Allen, who was another guy who is with strong links right the way back with his wife Jill at Castle Combe. And actually, was it last year or the year before that they were given the Strawford Trophy in memory of
yes, I feel humbled that I was able to be the one on the microphone giving the award to both David George, because David George got recognised I think the year before, and then it must have been 2 years ago that Tony and Jill were, and rightly so. And I have to say, by the way, is that I know that this has hit those two very, very hard. Tony was the first person to let me know the sad news on Saturday, the 5th of February, that the call had come in that morning he passed away peacefully with his family, which is good news, and or as good news as it can be. And I know that it's hit him hard. And Tony and Jill are absolute institutions, aren't they, at the circuit? They've worked. I'm very lucky that I've been able to work with them in the commentary box as well. And as you say, Tony and David, and I kind of going back to sort of like looking fondly back at the memories, is that you must have had it in your time as well, is that the almost bickering between David George and Tony Allen.
I mean, see, Tony, I mean, see, I'm sure we can talk about him at another time. His wife Jill used to do the lap scoring for me across at the main control. So between everything, it was a quartet of people, enthusiasts, and it all made it happen. I mean, see, things that people enjoy don't just happen. There's a lot of work goes on into the background. David used to spend hours on the telephone, I know, with various club secretaries and championship secretaries, asking them details about this, that, and the other. And the great thing about him was also that he would happily share this information with yours truly, which helped a lot because, as you know, when you're working sort of 6-7 days a week, and then you seem to manage to take some time off at a weekend to spend it talking all day to lots of lovely people about lots of lovely people, it does get a bit sort of difficult to do all things. But David would go around the paddock, as you said in your piece, and talk to everybody. Everybody knew him. I mean, say that. And that slight Bristol accent, immediately recognisable. Beautiful.
And that's quite an interesting one, because I hadn't realised some of the things that I'd learnt from him without deliberately studying or anything like that. I didn't set out to do it. And that included, I said it in the piece on the news article on the Castle Combe circuit news page, was that the walking around the paddock and catching up with everybody was a big deal. Now, I'll be honest and say, I think I started that, and he probably did, in all honesty, knowing him, was, yes, you get information, but it's a privilege that you get to go and be part of that community. You know, everybody that's racing, and I've always felt like I'm kind of an intruder, lucky to be there, because I just get to talk about the Goliaths out on circuit at the end of the day. And communicate with the fans around the circuit. But he did that, and I inadvertently learnt that. And the one that I learnt from both of you, and you touched on it already, and I said it in the piece, is it's not that you go and do commentating. You have a conversation about what's going on in front of you with your co-commentator, which is where the bounce off each other is good, and with the spectators around the circuit.
That was one of the nice things, and looking down at the crowd sometimes, as you know, you don't get much time to do that, and you see people looking up at you and giving you the thumbs up. Thankfully, not too many gave the thumbs down, but no, it was great. And David, and I'll include Tony in this, because Tony isn't too well also at the present moment. But those two together, they had their own little crowd, if you like, their followers down at the old paddock there, and it was quite a little gang. They were very, very loyal, very, very supportive of everything, and drinks and sandwiches and all sorts of things used to go up in their direction, because otherwise they were very hungry or very thirsty indeed sometimes.
Absolutely. I love it as well. Just picking up, obviously we've got loads of comments that I've been putting up on screen. Regards, David, and lovely to have the comment in here. Steve George says, thank you, Chris. He just loved the Combe and all of you. And you could tell that. It wasn't forced at all, was it? And you and I can relate to this because so do we. But, you know, he didn't force that love. It was natural.
Well, he basically didn't do commentary all over the place. And Castle Combe was his home circuit. It was his home crowd. And everybody, it just worked. I mean, say, if things are genuine, I believe that it comes across. If you're not being genuine and honest about things, people can tell. But he was absolutely 110% genuine, loved everything that happened at Combe. And I can't remember him actually turning around and being rude or derogatory with regard to anybody or anything, no matter what. His rule, based from his days in motor racing, was that everybody did their best. Even if they failed, they'd still done their best.
And that must come from the fact that, of course, he used to do a bit of rallying. David Nolsworthy, his good friend David Nolsworthy, was telling me, and certainly a lot of auto soloing. And apparently he used to make this Mini go and beat things he really shouldn't have been beating.
Well, if you were with David driving in convoy on a road somewhere, I can assure you of one thing. He was competitive, to say the least, on the road. Speed limits were regarded as something that you had to beat by the biggest possible margin. And, yes, and no matter where he went, it was tyres squealing, rubber coming off, smoke, and he'd get out of the car with a big grin on his face. And that was it. He just absolutely loved it. And he's, that was his way of doing things. And then coming to the circuit and talking about motor racing and what people were doing. And it came naturally to him. It really did.
Yeah, you always got that feeling he felt privileged, which, again, I've always said is something I can definitely relate to, is that always feel that. And I loved your comment that you did that I stole to put as quotes from you in the news piece on the circuit, where you said that he loved having those conversations with people, and if motor racing and cars were involved in that, all the better. And,
yes, absolutely.
That summed it up.
I mean, socially, at the circuit, we used to meet up after a race meeting, but somehow that dropped away. And I think family commitments and so forth, and let's face it, that's important. And seeing him socially, you'd always find him, if you weren't talking to him or spending some time with somebody else, he'd be in the corner by the bar there, a nice drink in his hand, and you'd go across to him, and the first thing you'd hear is, well, yes, I was doing this, and oh, you're doing that, and you've done that to your car. And it was just, he was an enthusiast, absolutely, to the end. I mean, and to be fair, he was a bit like a stick of rock. If you cut him in half, you'd find Castle Combe circuit all the way through.
100%. Like you say, is that he always used to say to me that I'm trying to find a lesser word, but I can't remember him using any other word. He did say, it feels wrong for him to say it to me, but he was in awe that I was pursuing my goals of cementing my place at Castle Combe, but trying to go elsewhere, because he said, I just didn't have the drive to go and do that. And it was that he just wanted to stay here. And I always made me sort of go, is that wrong of me? And he's like, no, it isn't. He said, it's brilliant what you're doing. But that was the humbleness of the man. But he just loved Castle Combe, and that was enough for him.
One thing that he did relay to me, that from a couple who brought their mother-in-law with them to motor racing, and they used to park on Paddock Bend. And as you know, when you park there, you're pretty steep. And the husband and wife used to go off around the circuit, as everybody did, I think, leaving mother-in-law in the car. And the comment came back, and I personally take this one very much so for the two of us. And this lady said she loved to come to Castle Combe. She didn't know anything about the cars, but she loved to hear the two men talking about the cars. Which, you know, if you've got that type of person, the comments from people like that, it's absolutely wonderful. David, he enjoyed talking to the public. He enjoyed, as you know, talking about the cars and everything else. And never, ever did I hear from him a derogatory word with regard to anybody or anything. He was all the way through. He was just, I think the best words are, one of the greatest enthusiasts, and somebody who loved what he did and did what he loved.
And would you agree with this, Richard? One of the great things that we're able to judge on, I guess, is that if you and I would be in the you or I, because of different generations, obviously, in the main commentary box, he's over in Old Paddock. Is that he had a way of doing the commentary, not just in a conversational way that worked, but also such a descriptive manner that whilst we couldn't see it, we could. In here, we knew what had just happened over there.
Absolutely. The picture came across through the voice, and that's what you wanted. And when he handed over to me as they would come up over the rise and into Bobby's, that's the corner, it was always good because I knew exactly what was happening. And, you know what I mean? And the handover can be difficult, and he knew when to hand over, he knew how to hand over, and we used to just pick it up seamlessly. We didn't have a rule as to, I will pick up the commentary from that particular point. We didn't need that, because sometimes he'd stop shorter, sometimes he'd carry on, depending how far he was into a descriptive piece. But he would come to me, and I would know not only who was in the lead, but who was moving up, and what had happened in Old Paddock, and everything else. And then the cars would come down into camp, I'd take over, and then, of course, coming out of Quarry Corner, he would pick them up. And he always got them. It used to annoy me a bit, but he always got the cars in Quarry Corner because they were side on to him. To me, I was looking up the exhaust pipes from the rear, and he got the positions and who was going through on Quarry Corner so right every time, absolutely brilliant. And also those that had unfortunately gone off and, shall we say, found a new way in the exit.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know whether you're going to be able to remember this. I mean, apparently the story goes is that David George was racing for White Horse Motor Club, was a founding member of White Horse Motor Club, in fact, and somewhere along the line he started actually commentating on some of the auto solos. And whilst David Knowlesworthy has said he's not sure exactly where it happened, but Howard Strawford, the late great Howard Strawford, heard him commentating, which I know there's similarities that we'll discuss when we get you back on again, Richard, and talk about your life and career. And he invited him to his house to interview him. And then it was the very last race meet of the year, 1973, that he'd interviewed him. He knew he had him in the back of his mind going, yep, I'm happy. If or when I need to, he's there. And he brought him in for that race meet. Do you remember anything? And apologies, because you might not, in fairness, but that very last race meet of the year, this newbie suddenly thrust into your midst to commentate from the far side of the circuit.
Well, I cannot remember everything about it, but I do know that looking at it, that I had quite a few different people to work with during that particular period, and some were great, some were not quite so great, but they all did their best. But seriously, when David came on the scene and we finished that particular race meeting, I felt that Old Paddock was safe. It was in safe hands because, seriously, I remember we clicked. It worked very, very well. Over the next winter, we met a couple of times and had a few beers. And, well, from there on in, I may say another 40-odd years later, he was still there, God bless him. You know, it's absolutely marvellous. And, yeah, it's working with, as you do these days, Other commentators can be very nerve-wracking, but working with David was never nerve-wracking because there was no artificial push to say, I am the best and, I don't know what you're doing and all that sort of thing. It's just a great, straightforward, humble guy. Absolutely marvellous.
And I think that's summed up, actually, is that I remember, in hindsight, thinking about it, I probably was turned to him this particular time unintentionally, relatively subserviently, sort of asking him for advice and what I should do and shouldn't do. And he kind of went, he said, there's not a lot I can tell you. He said, you've got to be you. Enjoy it. You are a fan. Be a fan. And that's kind of just stuck with me forever. But I just loved how he just would not have me being remotely subservient in any way.
Oh, no.
Even as a newbie, he just wouldn't have it.
No, and I'm sure you never felt that there was anything but sheer delight that you were prepared to come and do it and do the job and take on, and you took an awful lot on, let's be quite fair. But no, David would, he was, again, I know I've said it many times, but he was so easy to work with. It was a total pleasure. I used to go to Castle Combe with a smile on my face and, knowing that, quite frankly, working amongst friends.
No, I totally 100% get it. I'm just going to quickly put some of the comments up, and that does include, by the way, Alan Cooper says, nice to see Richard Davies. I'm sure he remembers the times in the early 70s when he commentated for us on the bank at Pontypool Hill Climb. Oh, yes, Pontypool, yes. Yes, BARC, yes, absolutely wonderful. I can remember quite a few things. There was one guy who had a Marcos, and he ran a pub down in what's the name of the cathedral down there back end? Not too bad. Anyway, he was coming up and lost it on the main straight, and the car spun off. Unfortunately, the bale that was protecting a tree didn't do its job very well, and the car split in half with John, his feet on the grass as the one half of the car went up the hill and the other half of the car went down the hill. But Pontypool Hill Climb, they were brave running that there. They really were absolutely incredible. Well, certainly Alan remembers that one well. I love as well, we've got two generations here. We've got one of our current young saloon car superstars, potentially, in my opinion, the future champ, Matt Parr. Evening, guys. Grew up listening to David and Richard at Combe. Absolutely, I can relate. And then Papa Parr, as I call him, Chris Parr, says, very touching tribute, Chris. David and Richard were a great commentary team back in the day. Their mini race commentaries were brilliant. And I guess that's where you knew you could just wind David up and let him go when it was minis.
Oh, yes, absolutely. We used to love the mini races. And I admit that my own personal favourites were the Formula Fords because it was such close racing. But between the two of us, I mean, say a little bit of Mickey taking is not a bad thing as long as it's done with a good spirit. And yes, it was done with a pretty good spirit, I must say. And in fairness, I have to say, because I know that the hopes that they're trying to do for the funeral is, as well as trying to get one of the classic minis outside of the crematorium where we're going to, the South Bristol crematorium, they're hoping to get a Formula Ford there as well, because he loved those. And everybody knows as well is that I adore those as well. The reality is we love anything that races, because I've always said our job as the commentator is reread the story that's written by the drivers, and when the writing's that good, it makes our life easy. Oh, absolutely. I mean, so the better the race, the easier it is for us, commentators, when there's nothing happening and you've only got 5 cars, one in each corner on the whole circuit. Well, that is when you really have to work. But there are ways around that, and David used to follow in on that, and I'd like to think that, it's yes, it's the end of an era, and that is very, very unfortunate, the way it's all happened. And I did hear that David was ill, and we all, when that news came through, that was pretty awful. But I am very proud to have known him.
Yeah, and I know that we were trying, and it's one thing that haunts me a little bit at the minute is the fact that we were trying to do him, you, and me doing one of these Combe TV shows, and he just wasn't well enough to do it. For those who don't know, is that he had to have an oxygen tank and everything. He really was suffering, and sadly, by the time it was getting close to where he was prepared to do it, we ran out of time. And I think it hurts you as well, Richard, because you and I have to say this to everybody who doesn't know this, by the way. Richard said, because David George said, look, I'm not well enough, go and do the show with Richard first and do that. And Richard turned around and said, no, it's all of us. And you and it was going to wait, and it just hurts a little bit, doesn't it, that never managed to happen, sadly. But we've had many years to have enjoyed him, which we are doing a major point of remembering now, aren't we?
Absolutely. And I mean, he worked with yourself and many other people at Combe after I left. I left in, I don't know if anybody can remember, but it's 1995 when I left, and so it's half a lifetime away in many ways. And I found myself in living in Spain and occasionally back in Germany, and which is where, if you like, my sort of adopted family come from. And I've been very unlucky on that side of things. But I've kept in touch with, obviously, with Tony Allen and Jill, and he's been the main source of my information, to be quite fair. And I'm sorry I didn't get to see him in recent years. I mean, I heard about him and kept the news coming, but and eventually when I heard that he was really ill, I mean, that was horrible. It really was. We say here is a man that a hard driver, seriously on the road, very quick. But I don't know if you know or remember, but he had a terrible motorcycle accident many years ago, when in fact he decided that his motorbike would go through the gap on a narrow bridge between a Renault 5, I think it was, and the parapet of the bridge. Unfortunately, that won, and he was in hospital and in intensive care for quite a long time. But being David, he sorted himself out, thanks to the medics and everybody else. And as soon as he could, where was he? Paddock Bend, talking to all the people, as if nothing had happened. I mean, and he had a life-threatening accident. And as I say, he came through it all and picked off where he left off. And I was so delighted to see him back, because it was like, part of me was missing when he wasn't there.
Yeah, no, I can get that. Well, just quickly then to whittle this, Nigel Frost says it's great that the circuit comms involve the crowd as well as getting updates from parts of the circuit out of sight. Agreed. Rich and I have spoken about that many times. Steve George says he ended up on top of the wall at the pub on the A38 at Lolsgate once, apparently. Yeah. Emma Strawford says Richard beat me to it. David was Combe through and through. So when you said cut him in like a stick of rock, cut him in half, and he was Combe through and through, 100%. Paul Wiltshire, lovely comment. Call him the Murray Walker of Castle Combe without the gaffs. Absolutely. Don't go into it, Richard, because I know we touched on Murray Walker that you. Love this one as well. Kate George, hi Kate. Lovely to hear about Dad and such lovely tributes to him. Many good memories of lap scoring for him at Combe and having to prove my stuff at racing school in front of him. Wow, that would have been hard. No pressure. Well, welcome to you, Kate, as well. And Kate and Steve, I really hope that we've done him a degree of justice to remember him and Richard and I spoke about this earlier. We wanted to try and celebrate his life, and I know that I got emotional and the tribute was emotional, but it's a life worth celebrating, Richard, at the end of the day.
Oh my God, yes. And, it's seriously, I don't think we can say enough. But you get emotional, I'm getting emotional about it. And it's a great shame. There's so many people that you know and love, and life is very short. We only spend, as the saying goes, we only spend a short time here, and too much time doing whatever we're doing later on. God knows about that side of things. But if there's a racing circuit anywhere up there, I'm quite sure David will be doing his thing.
Thank you, Steve. Says absolutely, you've done him proud. I appreciate that. That means a lot. It's always scary to know whether you get the line right in reality. And I agree. I mean, and I've got to say, Richard, is that, and I know sadly one or two you weren't aware of that I informed you that we've lost in the not so distant past. It's getting a very entertaining place up there for motor racing. There's some pretty big names that are there. It's sad. Remember the 2nd of March that everybody is welcome to South Bristol Crematorium, 3 p.m. on Wednesday, the 2nd of March. Please do come along. Let's show our respects to an incredible man that have brought so many memories, and along with Richard, got so many people hooked on the sport, hooked on the circuit, and for me, hooked on commentating as well. Very, very special. Richard, I cannot thank you enough. You've joined us from Spain to bring these memories, and I can't thank you enough for doing it. And the fact that you've agreed you will come on again, where I get to pick your brains about your life and experiences as well at some point.
Oh, that won't take long.
That's not true. We know there's lots of stories there. There's loads of stories, but thank you so much for coming on, Richard. I appreciate it.
Chris, an absolute pleasure, and thanks to everybody, and thank you for the comments, particularly from David's 2 kids. They're not kids anymore, let's face it. I well remember, if I might, one little thing. Steve from Merlin Motorsport was with David and myself, and his daughter Kate was there, and Kate, she'll hate me for this, she turned around and she said, "Oh, I would love to be a racing driver." And Steve came out with quite a well-known saying, but it fitted so well. He said, "Can I tell you how to make a small fortune out of motor racing?" "Yes," says Kate. He said, "Start with a large one." David liked that as much as anybody, and I'm sure Kate will probably remember.
It's so true as well. Right, Richard.
Thank you for what you've done, and very professionally as always, and everything. And I really enjoyed being given the opportunity to say a few things about David.
No, thank you very much. It was so special, last minute, and I appreciate it. So, until we get you on for a show in your own right, stay well, Richard, and we'll speak to you again very soon.
Look forward to it. Cheers. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks, Richard. Right, that gives us that. Now, before we start the next bit, I just need to shake the emotion off, and we're going to bring Steve Weston on, and we're going to talk about the 2022 season, which I know David George will want. He, as we've said, cut him in half. He is Castle Combe through and through. We get to go again. This time, hopefully we'll get through the whole year without any restrictions whatsoever. I'll be back in a minute. So some very, very fond memories of David George. As I say, don't forget the link that we put in is that Wednesday, the 2nd of March, that will be there. And look, great to see as well. Tim Perry says, thank you, Richard. Lovely to hear your stories. I totally agree. And we're going to be getting Richard on in due course. Paul Wiltshire, thanks, Richard. Kate George, this means a lot. As Steve said, you've done him proud. Thank you. Thank you very much. As you can imagine, it was... it's always difficult to know how to do it. Emma Strawford, well done, Chris. I can hear the applause in the VIP lounge. Wow, don't say that. Crikey. You'll get me going again. Right. Let's look forward to the 2022 season. And I'm delighted to bring in the Competitions Director, Steve Weston. Hello, mate. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. Very well.
Yeah, I know you were in the background there watching quite an emotional opening to this show.
Yeah, I mean, how do you follow that? You know,
you've got to. Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
But you know, just very quickly before we move on, is that you know, for yourself, you know as well as I do, is a voice synonymous to the circuit and the racing club.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, everybody who's watching this will know have their own stories, won't they? So you could have probably run this program for hours, just getting several people on in the comments and stuff to you know, give you anecdotes about David. So yeah, what more could be said, really?
No, absolutely. Well, you know, as I say, is that I still think it's a very good way to go on, is that to look forward to the 2022 season, because as Richard was saying, he's such a huge fan of the racing and everything else, is that it's not just the show must go on, is that he wants it. Oh, by the way, I know Richard's still in the background. Is that Kate George has just said, "I remember that, Richard. Lovely to see you." So there you go. She did remember that about how to make a fortune, a small fortune from motor racing. That's brilliant. Tim Perry says, "Evening, Mr. Weston."
Hey, good evening.
Mate. Even I don't call it that anymore, do I?
No, not many people do, mate. Not at all. Bank manager, maybe.
Yeah, well, they worry when you come in, don't they, nowadays? But
I don't go in there if I can help it. There's no money
exactly.
in there.
You've been a busy boy during the winter season to really pep up this season, and it's looking like a busy year ahead.
It certainly is, and obviously David would be happy because we've got plenty of minis coming as well. So obviously the tie-up with the Mighty Minis, which hopefully people have heard about. So we're running that as a championship for the club. So that's been taking up a lot of my time during the winter. Well, since Christmas, really, when I had an off-the-cuff conversation with Roger Tello about, you know, Mighty Minis coming to Combe and things.
It's almost perfect timing to some extent now, I think about it, isn't it? It's poignant.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, they're coming, the Mighty Minis are coming in May and again at the end of the year for the finals day. And then we've got the Mini 7s and Melias at the summer weekend. So three lots of mini racing. What did you not like about that, really?
Wow, exactly. David George's passion lives on at the circuit. That's absolutely right. I've always loved it. I mean, my biggest one, just to, I know it makes people chuckle because they know exactly what I'm talking about. As they go around the corner, they look like they're a dog cocking their leg to have a wee, because that one corner of wheel just pops up and bounces. And even as a 5-year-old sat at Quarry Corner, I remember that with those minis, like a dog having a wee. But they're just brilliant entertainment. And as you say, we've got them at the beginning and at the end. And the future plans is that it could even that we're growing the stable to be able to sort of in like next year or whatever, be able to have an away round where we go in unison to another circuit as well.
Yeah, we're in that position now. Hopefully we've taken on the minis, Mighty Mini Championship, and also the GT Sports Car Cup are under our umbrella, if you want to call it a different word. So they come obviously every year to the Autumn Classic, and we've got together with them, and they wanted us to run their series. They run it themselves. Flavian and Vanessa are very good at doing that.
Yeah. So
we're just the name over the door, for want of a better word. But they're launching this new Group 1 touring car series, which will be launched at Combe at the Autumn Classic, and then that will grow hopefully. So obviously with the 3 championships, the Hot Hatch Series, the Mighty Minis, GT Sports Car Cup. That's at least a day at another circuit, whereby we can run championship rounds, hopefully. So hire a circuit somewhere else, and there's always circuits that people want to go to. We would be looking at hopefully one of the larger ones, Donington, Silverstone, Brands, somewhere like that. Aim high, why not?
Old Park seems to be getting mentioned as quite a popular one to try as well, and I do recommend it.
Yeah,
we've got an Old Park regular in Nigel watching as well, and it would be awesome to watch them around there.
Yeah, and I think we did it once with the Saloons to Donington Park, and probably half the guys have never been anywhere else. They've always just raced at Combe. So to take everybody somewhere else and run our own race day with the infrastructure we've got in place now, I don't think it's impossible.
Well, don't forget also Brands Hatch as well. They did, didn't they?
They did, yeah. So we can do it. Hopefully, if all the ducks align. So something to look forward to, and it is growing. Hopefully, the club's growing. Leaps and bounds at the moment, which has been the ambition.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Options. That's the point, isn't it, Steve?
Well, we had a 3-year plan and a 5-year plan, and we're in our 3rd year, just going into our 3rd year, and obviously COVID, as it does with everything else, has put a bit of a dampener on things. But coming out of that, as we hopefully are now, it seemed like a great time, and the opportunities come along for us to do these things, and if it works, great. Hopefully, it will bring some more money into the club as well, which is always good, because we're a non-profit making, so we can just invest that back into the club and keep growing, which is hopefully what everybody wants to do.
No, absolutely. So let's look at the year ahead. Sadly, Richard Beard, we were hoping to have Richard on, but he's not feeling very well at the minute. Get well soon, mate. I'm guessing is there more Marshall days left to come yet? Do you know?
We've got the Marshall training days.
Yeah.
So the Saturday one, which is an invite only. So those that have been invited should know about that. And then the main day is on March the 6th, Sunday, March the 6th. So that'll be all the experienced marshals, the new marshals, anybody that wants to get involved in that who hasn't been before can look on the website and look up marshalling, and Richard's contact details are on there. So that will be for most people, that's the start of the season. Basically, they all get together, dust off the overalls, try and make them stretch a bit. And
I think we had quite a few people saying that. Apologies, guys. I know that there was messages in the early start of the early stages of this show. But I'm sure you appreciate that by the time I was sort of like into the emotional tributes and what have you, that I didn't bring that up. We have already, though, got now Thomas Parker says, looking forward to that. Exactly as you say, it's the start epistle for the mighty Orange Army, for sure. This year, are we back to the situation where taster days are back on, or are we still not quite there yet?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, as far as Motorsport UK are concerned, we're back to normal-ish. There's a few things that have changed during COVID, which we won't go back, hopefully. So sign-on will be electronic, hopefully. Scrutineering, we'll let people know about that one, because that's a work in progress with Motorsport UK, because there is a trial going on, and hopefully Combe will be part of that trial. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes at the moment with Motorsport UK and scrutineering. But yeah, that's like you say, COVID has brought some good things to the race day, but we should be back to normal on a race day. So yeah, taster days and, actually face-to-face, bit like training day, which we did a Zoom event last year.
Yeah, of course.
Trying to do firefighting over Zoom is a bit difficult, but yeah, to get back to normal, to actually get people together and actually face-to-face, probably we've worked out a timetable, but you probably may as well stop for the first hour, 2 hours, because they'll all be just chatting to each other because they haven't seen each other for so long, and that's a normal training day. That's what a lot of people come for, but they do have to do some training as well. But
well, and the race days, we've always said is the Mighty Orange Army is one big family that we couldn't do what we love without, and they're absolute heroes. So it's great. That's why I was interested in the question. Is it's a big deal that we can have the taster days going again, and equally, forgive me, I'm probably going to word this wrong, but there was people not able to get signatures as such that could move them up through the order, and hopefully
for the upgrading, and the upgrade through the the system from, what used to be called trainee, but is now a marshal, and then to experienced marshal, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I'm not sure we'll go back to cards per se, which was what they used to do, just get a signature on a card. Because obviously most of these things we try and do electronically now. And I must be honest, I don't know what situation we're at as far as that's concerned, but we will get back to those, those days where we can recognize people's achievements and help them get up through the ladder to the giddy heights of, Clark, of course, and people like that.
No one wants that, mate. I'm only joking. I'm joking. Alan Cooper says, good evening, guys. Can Steve tell us if we are going to continue with paperless reporting to race control?
Yes, probably, because it works better for us. But there will be, I think there'll be a sort of hybrid thing, I believe. All this will be explained on training day, because Richard and I are working hard behind the scenes to get things in place for training day, so that we can tell, because a lot of it's up in the air. Again, going back to the scrutineering thing, Motorsport UK are not the quickest at dishing out information generally at this time of year. But there's lots of plans going on, and we always try and get things ready for the Marshals Training Day, so that we can tell them at Marshals Training Day what is going to happen during the season. So we will probably a lot of the stuff electronically works a lot better and is a lot quicker for us in race control, to be honest. So you get an incident out on circuit, we get a message from the post, and we can act on it. Whereas normally you got to wait for the course car to drive around, pick up a piece of paper, bring it back. Somebody's got to read it and act upon it. So it does work a lot better for us if we can do the paperless stuff, because it's a lot quicker. Absolutely. And obviously you then, if they're sending us an email, we've then got an electronic paper trail, which is the wrong word, but it works a lot better for us without paper, the paperless trail. So,
I think across the board, wherever I'm commentating, is that there is a whole load of things that have changed for the better.
Yeah, definitely.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
Or even if to some people it might not necessarily be the better, it's for the better good.
Yeah,
or the
definitely.
The greater good, as they say.
It's the same with the the online rev up system that we use for drivers and also the marshals as well. There's a lot of info that's been upgraded this week for the drivers to enter some more information on, so they can now upload their license, so we can see it on the rev up system. So I can go into the office and go onto rev up and check if somebody's got a current license. So that's all done via rev up. And there's some people that don't use rev up, and there's some that will never will. But from our point of view, if it's there electronically, then we can access it on race days and stuff like that. So it's just a lot easier all round. Same with sign on. Back in the day when they all used to queue up and come and sign on, and then give them a slip of paper and then go to scrutineering and queue up again, and all these things are a lot smoother now, because we can check most of it before race day. So if it's done electronically, on the week run up to the race meeting on the week before, we can check all this information. We don't need to do it on the day. So it just makes life easier for everybody, really.
Of course, we found out on the last Combe TV that they're insistent that the chocolate bars reintroduced again now.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm not sure how that's going to work, because they don't come to sign on anymore. So, we'll definitely have to sort something out, I'm sure.
Yeah, Kat was determined, wasn't she? Bless her. Emma Strawford asked the question: will I have my lodgers this year, Steve, in the media centre?
I can't possibly comment on that, Emma, because there's politics in the background on that one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I can imagine Emma's chuckling at that one, to be honest, as well. Just quickly going back to the minis comment, Lewis Bird, one of our racers, says minis 4 wide up the rise with David and Richard commentating when I was in my teens. Brilliant. 100%. I'm there, mate. That's one of my abiding memories as well.
Only 4 wide. That must have been a quiet day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very, very quiet. But no, I definitely remember that one. Okay, so that I think covers the Marshall side. 25th of March, the
26th.
6th of March, is it? Sorry. Saturday, the 26th of March.
Yeah.
The media and test day.
Track day.
Track day, sorry.
Yeah,
and this is some. Sorry, mate. Sorry.
This is the stumbling block.
Yeah, which I know isn't easy because of noise levels and everything. That you know we've.
It's the only reason, Chris. To be honest, I mean, Graham at the circuit MD has been kind enough to allow us to run at the circuit without any cost. So, you know, we're charging guys for the day, but that money is paying for the track tie, the awards in the evening, and which isn't cheap. So that event will be cost neutral. So he's given us the circuit. We haven't had to actually physically hire it, although there's things to be paid for. So food, drink, blah 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 blah. But as a circuit, we can only run X amount of 108 days in a 12-month period. Absolutely. And that is the test days before a race event. It's the race events themselves. It's the bike weekend and the days before that, and obviously the bike testing. And so we're limited to the 108 days we can run. And Graham's been kind enough to give us a circuit, but we can't run that as a 108 day. And most of the 108 days, apart from race days, are 6-car days. So if we did run it, we could run it as a 108 day, but we could only run 24 cars. So right. It's it swings and roundabouts. We need to try and get as many of our guys that can come. It was the initial idea was to get them to come and just do a shakedown. And obviously, as soon as you offer somebody a track day for £195, then we're going to jump at it. So, the guys that can get below 100 are fine. If you can't get below 100, unfortunately, without silencing the car, you're not going to get on circuit. And we would love to run a massive test day that everybody could go to at 108, but with the noise nuisance that thing that we've got, we just can't do that many noisy days. I think you, I, and probably most people watching this would love it if we could run 108 every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just not possible. So we need to pick and choose when we can run a 108 day, and unfortunately, that day isn't one of them because we will want to run some noisier days later in the year. So pre-race testing, etc. So if we ran that as a 108 day later in the year, something else would have to suffer.
And then we don't get a build up into their race meet where they'll actually want to run it. And don't forget, if you can't necessarily get out on track, is that we've got scrutineers there. So if there's anything that you want to sort of show them on the car, float past them, am I right in saying this, Steve?
Yeah, there'll be a scrutineer, at least one scrutineer there all day.
So even if you just want to bring the car down, media are going to be there. So there's photo opportunities. There are scrutineers to have a look at something if you want to speak about it, show them something, and then there's the awards in the evening. It's not just the awards. I'm hopeful. I don't know whether we've had this confirmed, but the plan is to have entertainment and food, and the bar will be open.
Yeah, so the plans are pretty well progressed. Cat's well on top of that. Cool. So the food, during the day, if you come during the day, hopefully in the morning you get a coffee and a bacon buddy, and then you'd have to buy your own lunch. But then we're going into a buffet for the evening. So that's part of what's going on. You're hopefully going to be there by 7ish.
I hope so, mate. That's the plan. Yeah.
To do the evening, and yeah, I thought you were sorting out the entertainment, but obviously we need to chat about that a bit later on.
If you play "I'm Too Sexy for My Shirt," I'll go for it, mate. You know me.
Oh, I'm not again. But yeah, the finer details are to be sorted out. But yeah, that's the plan. And I'm not sure if Cat's put out the timetable yet for the evening, but we'll be based in the Strawford Centre. So it'll be, downstairs, the garage will be available. The food will be in the Cafe Bar H, I believe, and the bar will be open, but you'll have to buy your own drinks. And then we have arranged with the college to get the sim in the K. Thomas Centre.
Oh, wow.
So people can come. Yeah, that's that. Hopefully I like to say that. But yeah, and you can race Combe on that sim. So probably what
I've seen that David Campion was doing that on social media. He was racing Combe, wasn't he?
It's based in a Caterham type car with a big screen, and we'll probably have a little trophy on the fastest lap on the day. Right. So it will hopefully be there all day. And I'm not sure if they're asking for a donation, a small donation or whatever.
I think that's fair.
We'll confirm that anyway, but they have, they've said they're going to bring it along. We'll put it in the K. Thomas Centre just in case it rains. and we'll just have the challenge on the day to see who can get the quickest lap around Combe. So that should be a bit of fun, and that'll go into the evening. So obviously, who knows what's going to happen then? But
yeah.
So they'll, hopefully
they might bottle out of leaving it out come the evening, because the point being is that they can stay in their caravans, motorhomes, whatever.
Yeah,
in
so
the paddock as well overnight.
So we've arranged, again, speaking to Graham, he's going to arrange for the shower block to be there. So if people are there all day, they can go and have a quick shower and get changed, and then it's sort of smart casual in the evening. It's not a black tie do. Unfortunately, that's later in the year. But yeah, so then we'll invite everybody from each group upstairs for the awards. So Formula Fords all upstairs, do your bit, and we're trying to arrange, hopefully with Kevin from Bristol Sound, to stream that into downstairs and into the cafe on TVs. So if you're not actually involved, you'll still be able to see it. So high tech, isn't it? If it works, it'd be great. But so that's the plan in our heads, and hopefully it will come off. So yeah, I mean, hopefully this will encourage a few more people to try and attend, because it's not what we wanted to do, and it's not what we planned to do obviously last year. But the big one will be at the end of the year at the Concord thing in November. But this was just to acknowledge the fact that the guys have run a championship, paid us money all year. Same with the hot hatch guys in the series. They've all paid a lot of money to be there, so they deserve to be crowned champion with a bit of a fanfare. So that's what it's all about. The whole day is based around us appreciating the fact that these guys do pay us a lot of money. Do pay us a lot of money to come racing, and it's some payback for that. So.
And to acknowledge, we are a family, we're a group, and the fact that we get to come together and sort of enjoy celebrating all of that together for that day and the evening or the night or whatever is just a great opportunity. And that includes, by the way, one of the things that I know was coming up is that for some people that they've got cars that they're looking to possibly rent out to people for the season, arrive and drives or run the car, or even sell it, heaven forbid. But all of that is that you can get potential customers to come down and actually have a go in the car.
Absolutely, yeah. Anybody that's we're trying. Hopefully, the people that are registered for the championships and the series will get priority, because they're the ones we know that are coming with us. But yeah, if as long as they've got a race license.
Steve, can you start that again, mate? Because I lost you a bit at the beginning there.
All right. So yeah, anybody that's got a race license can come, because they'll have to. Obviously, they're all going to be out on track at the same time, so we don't want just Joe Public turning up and driving around in a Ford Fiesta. So it would need to be somebody that's got a race license. But if somebody's trying to rent a car or sell a car, then yeah, by all means, they'll need to sign on and do everything that everybody else needs to do. But most of the guys
passengers are allowed, though, aren't they?
They are, but they'll need to be signed on as well, because it's a track day. It's not a test day. So, that's one of the advantages. There's I'm trying to think. I can't remember off the top of my head. There's somebody who's racing in the Mighty Minis, I believe, whose dad is an arts instructor and wants to come down and give them some instruction. So they're coming down together. So, you can have a passenger, and we will be taking media around. So there'll be opportunity to get some media pictures and, stuff like that. And if people want to bring sponsors down and just show them what it's all about and what Combe's all about, it's not a problem. So yeah, as long as the drivers will all have to be signed on and have a race license, so that we know that they are capable of going out on track with everybody else that's got a race license, basically.
Which is fine, because at the end of the day, if they're thinking about renting out their race car or selling their race car, then the likelihood is by this point they've probably already got a racing license. So that's absolutely fine. That means everyone that's going out. Oh, I went then, didn't I?
You did.
They're all under control. I tell you what, I'm going to plug my cable in, because I thought it was you. It might be me that's having an issue. Yes, so they've got a racing license, protecting the people that are out there. They're going to have a racing license if they're looking at renting or paying for a drive or buying a race car, whatever. It's just a great opportunity. Plus, we've got media there that will be taking photos, speaking to people, everything like that. So it's about exposure of what everybody's doing as much as possible as well. And I have to compliment you, Steve. This was your brainchild. It's something that I think that used to be done some years ago, and you were keen to try and get this going again.
Yeah, we've done it way back when. I was trying to think. Somebody mentioned this the other day. I was trying to think when we did the last open day, track day stuff. But it's just that, you know, what we're trying to do with the social media that Cat's doing more now, you know, the website, Facebook, Twitter, blah, 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 all the other stuff. And, you know, the written press is just trying to get in people's faces a bit more to say, you know, we are there. We're not just this little, you know, background sort of club. We're hopefully going places. So it's just an opportunity to invite all the written media down and hopefully get a few words in the written press, as well as all the social that goes with it, really. So, yeah, it's just an opportunity. It was originally just you know, mooted as a shakedown, really, so that people could come and shake the car down. And they will go out and test. We know they will. But, yeah, it's more an opportunity just before the season starts to, you know, just come and make sure that, you know, the wheels go around. Some people obviously won't be ready. And we know that because some people will be sorting their car out on the 17th of April before the 18th of April race day. So, you know, some won't have the car ready. And, you know, you and I both see on you know, all the social media cars in build and bits and pieces, you know, for sale or stripped down or, you know, workshops for the show.
They've only had all winter though. But
absolutely, yeah. But they will all be doing it on the Saturday and Sunday before the 18th of April. So, you know, if you know,
some things never change. Some things never change.
Not. But it was just an opportunity.
Including the current Mrs. Dawes just bought me a top up. That never changes either, mate.
You get looked after too well, don't you?
I know. She just hopes that by the end of a show, I'm like sozzled enough that I just go to sleep. That's what she hopes for.
But yeah, so you know,
Kieran says, "What's wrong with the Ford Fiesta?" Nothing, mate. We're just using it as an example.
Yeah, some people are so touchy. A road going Ford Fiesta, then, should I have said?
Exactly, so, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different. It's a fun day. And I love the fact, by the way, Steve, is I know that we've had some people in the comment is that they are coming for just the evening, and it's like absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just, you know, we fully appreciate some people come a long way. You know, I know Cat sent out to everybody that is entitled to an award a personal invite, and I saw one of the replies that was somebody who said, "Wow, I wasn't expecting an award for anything," so they obviously didn't know, haven't looked at the, you know, the points or whatever, but they're 3 hours away. Well, it's a long way to come down 3 hours on a Saturday just to, you know, there's a trophy, thanks very much, we'll see you later in the season. So we fully appreciate that. But it's an opportunity for people if they are local or want, you know, a night out. The only downside is, you know, you can't stay on site. I know when we usually do our awards, we're in a hotel, so you can have a good fun evening and, you know, have a dance around and then just walk upstairs or get the lift or downstairs at a Future Inns and crash out. So, you know, that's a disadvantage. But like you said, I think we're quite happy for people to stay on site with you know, camper vans and stuff like that.
Rooms, yeah,
you know,
whatever. Bearing
in mind it is still March, so you know
it's fine, mate. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Especially once you've had a couple to drink, it's all fine. It's no problem. Tim Perry says, "Where is my Mrs. Dawes, mate?" So it's taken me this long, so don't say that.
Have to find his own.
Yeah, exactly. Mark Fennell, lovely tribute to David. He was one of the good guys, always had time for a chat and always had a smile. He will be missed. And of course, unless I'm very much mistaken, that was you that was referenced in the little bit of commentary I managed to source of David as well, which I hope was okay to put in. I know that it was possibly a bit raw to put his voice, but how can you not? Wayne Paul says, "I'm pleased to say I have 3 Formula Fords already now. First time ever, mate." Pleased to hear that, Wayner. Good to hear.
Going to need a bigger one, man.
He is. Well, he just always nicks that garage anyway. And
he does, yeah. Right. We're going to have to start charging him more then if he's going to get more cars in there.
Absolutely.
I'll make a note of that when I'm on.
Great to see it, Miss Ball. I just still love it in the fact that we've got numerous people that I grew up watching racing and now running teams at Combe. I just adore it. I just love it, including Wayne Paul, obviously. Chris Mason, our paramedic, our medical dude. Good evening, all. And just to show that they do bounce backwards and forwards, Tim Perry says, good evening, Mr. Mason. Hope you're well. Stop chatting with each other. Focus on the show.
Yeah.
So that's the media day. Anything else that we need to cover on that day?
I don't think so. There's a lot that we'll try and keep people informed. Just keep an eye on social and, you know, the website and stuff like that. We're trying to update the website at the moment. But again, I'm waiting for the regs to come back from get approved by Motorsport UK before we sort of go big time on the website and try and bring it up to 2022, because most of the information on there at the moment is 2021. But yeah, we're working behind the scenes to try and get that done with Anthony Weeks and his company, to just try and, you know, again, upgrade that with all the information, but try not to just blow everything out of the water and just trash it. Just try and make it look a bit more modern and stuff. And obviously with links to Mighty Minis and GT Sports Car Cup and all that sort of stuff, and try and evolve to give it the sort of club thing. Because we're conscious we don't want to forget the guys that have been there forever. But, you know, it's a new era for everybody. So we need to just try and big ourselves up, which hopefully we're doing.
Absolutely. No, I love it. Okay, race days. First one, Howard's race day, Monday, 18th of April, Easter Monday. Yeah.
So we made a decision end last year, probably before that we would start the season with double headers for all our guys. You know, again, they do spend a lot of money with us over the year, and some people like double headers, some don't. But it was an opportunity to sort of say, right, you know, this is a day where you can come and have 2 races at the start of the season, because we know as the season goes on, for various different reasons, many different reasons, people do sort of drift away or whatever. So it's just an opportunity to start the season with 2 races, just get out there and you know, this is it. We're making a start. And we're joined by the 750 Motor Club Sports Specials and the BC V8s as well. So it's a double header day all the way through. And I don't think Sports Specials haven't been for a while. I know BC V8s missed a year or 2. So there's a lot of stuff coming back this year that we haven't had. And we'll talk about that shortly. But yeah, it was just a real quick fire double header for everybody. And again, you know, I think on the timetable at the moment, lunch is about 11 o'clock, but who cares? Let's just get loads of races done. You know, 12 races in a day, back to what Castle Combe does best, really, which is races and put on entertainment for everybody. So that was the idea, was to, like I say, to get the home championship series and stuff up and running with a bit of a bang, really.
I do love that. The BCV8s is something I've covered quite a few times, and that is special around there. But to really do the starter pistol for our home championships, that is wicked. So 18th of April, Easter Monday, the Howard's Day, the way the year's got to start, it always has. It's always special. Busy weekend for that one for me. I'm at Donington Park Friday and Saturday doing the Masters. Day off on Sunday to eat Easter chocolate, and then to come and work it off with the full day you're putting on for us on the Monday, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, you're not working hard enough for having the Sunday off, are you?
That's true, mate. Yeah,
We'll
I think
that's
because the current Mrs. Dawes scares me now. You see, is that I got to try and spend some time with her as well, do all the DIY or whatever. But
yeah.
Second of
swearing at people now.
Yeah, exactly. 2nd of May, May Day Madness.
Yeah. Oh, these taglines are difficult to think up sometimes. I think a lot of these have been recycled from the year before,
and
the year before that. But yeah, it's just, I mean, that's a busy day with the home championships and the series, and we're joined. That will be the first outing for the Mighty Minis as a Castle Combe championship. So it's double header for them on that day. The MG Owners Club are coming, and Track Attack Racing Club. So again, a busy day. Only 11 races that day, unfortunately. But
thanks, mate.
Yeah, you know, it is what it is. Some of the timetables are a bit more snug than others, and all the marshals now will be laughing because they know what we mean by a snug timetable. And John Ford, bless him, and his recovery crew will be cringing. But hey ho, John, keep up the good work. But yeah, I mean, we're trying to. Obviously, we've always been known for good racing, lots of racing. So we could Ken, bless him, our chairman, will be saying cram some more races in, but we could. Most of my timetables do finish relatively early, funny enough, because we can run to 5:30. But most of the timetabled stuff at the moment finishes at 6 o'clock. But as we all know, if it doesn't go well, with 12 races, 11 races, blah blah blah, something's going to happen. So we need to put a bit of wriggle room in, and John, like I say, the recovery guys and the rescue crew and Les and his team, they work really, really hard on every race day, and we rarely lose a race. So.
Well, the race drivers will keep rearranging the circuit furniture at the end of the day. So,
well, yeah. I mean, slow down. What's the matter with you?
Tim Perry, one of the Orange Army, says, "Ha, don't we just?" He knows exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I like it as well. Mike Cotton, when I refer to DIY, he says, "What? Drive it yourself." If only, mate. If only. As Murray Walker said, "Those that can do it, those that can't talk about it." There we go. I haven't raced, sadly, but read into that what you will. Okay, so that's the May Day Madness. Then we've got Saturday, the 11th of June, the Summer Spectacular race. Well, that's 11th and actually, we need to update the website because it just says 11th, but that's presumably 11th to 12th.
I think we've had this issue before with the website, where you can only actually put one day on it.
Oh, really?
So it is a weekend event, 2 days. But if you look at the website on the calendar, it just comes up to the 11th of June, and I think we've had an issue with that before where we tried to.
I'm looking at the circuit website, so I can't tell you what it says on the CCRC website.
Okay.
To be fair, but,
anyway, moving on. We'll look at it, but I'm sure we've had this issue before. But I mean, it's quite quiet that weekend. We've only got looks like 27 races, so it's quite a quiet weekend.
I'm not with you for that one, actually.
Are you not?
No, I'm doing the American Speed Fest. That's one of those ones that was a bit awkward, wasn't it? Because I know we've got
I think every circuit in the country is running. Yeah, it
is, and that's the thing. There's people suddenly going, "Oh, Le Mans 24 hours on that weekend," and I know there's a few people that scamper over to France for that one. But it's the interesting one that going. Actually, there's loads on. I think it's the MG special weekend at Silverstone that weekend. I'm doing American Speed Fest with the Euro NASCAR at Brands Hatch that weekend. It's just a big weekend of motor racing in general, isn't it?
Thruxton's running as well for a weekend event. So it is. I mean, unfortunately, I know as soon as we put the calendar out, there's always comments about, "Oh, why are you running on that weekend? It's busy." We get given the dates by the circuit because they've got so much else going on that they need to fit around it. So.
But it shows if everybody else has got events going everywhere, it's just a popular weekend for going motor racing.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, pick and choose where you go. Obviously, Chris, if you're not coming to Coombe, then you're going to miss a good event because again, we got Mini Amelia's on that weekend, so they're racing both days. We got 750 Mazdas, who are always good fun, so they've got 3 races over the weekend. 750 Hot Hatch as well as our own Hot Hatch. We're running all weekend, and there's another one to be confirmed, and I'm waiting for an email hopefully tomorrow, which I can't say who that is, but hopefully that's another race on the Saturday. So there'll be 10 races on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday.
I'm losing your signal at the minute, Steve. Hang on 2 seconds.
Is it me or is it you?
That one's you because you keep going the zone out. Incidentally, while that's just refreshing, I love this comment because this is brilliant. And I do think it's okay because we're both officially Bristolian. But it says, watching these subtitles, trying to translate that Bristolian bloke is great fun.
The one on the right depends. I'm seeing you on the right. Are they seeing you or me on the right? I'm not sure.
Well, I don't know. I don't know really, but that's quite.
But you're not Bristolian anyway, are you? So they must be talking about me.
I am, mate. But I've poshed it up for presentations, mate. Haven't I? Am.
More than I have. My babber. Sorry about that.
Yeah, me babbers. Come on, me lover. Anyway, sorry. What were you saying? So we've got a home championships, but there's something you can't tell us that's hopefully.
There's another race that hasn't been confirmed yet. I know it's late in the year, but these things happen. So there's hopefully another race on the Saturday. Another 2 races, on the Saturday. So that'll make 10 races on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday we got the same stuff again. Mini Amelia's, Mini 7s, 750 Hot Hatch. Mazda's got 2 races, and the Welsh racing drivers club are coming as well. So
we haven't seen them for a little while, actually, have we?
they haven't been for 3 years. The last time they came was when we had to cancel the day.
Oh God, really?
They were going to come when we were having COVID, and then there was another one before. And yeah, it just hasn't happened. So hopefully they'll come. So yeah, that's going to be a very busy day on the Sunday. So our guys, at the moment, I think the hot hatch and the Formula Fords run on the Saturday, and then the GTs and the saloons will run on the Sunday.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a busy day, or a busy weekend.
Well,
but lots not to like.
Jackie Fay says John Ford is already cringing at the thought. Steve, did you hear him scream? And don't forget, he's just a humble trainee.
Yeah. He loves it, really. He loves it.
Absolutely.
What else would he be doing? If
I've been told, because I'm supposed to be trying to have a Combe TV show with the rescue crew, and I've been told that there's no way will Mr. Ford agree to come on. And I'm like, well, that makes it even more fun then if he doesn't want to.
Yeah, he's a bit shy and retiring. So
I've never noticed that about him, to be honest, so I don't buy into that, I'm afraid. Incidentally, by the way, is that Sean Lewis did change it to the Bristolian bloke on the left, and then he's also said, I changed it to the left now. Steve knows my observational skills well enough, so you know Sean.
We all know Sean very well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both of us went down there. Nigel Forrest up at Alton Park says, think we have British GTs that weekend. So there you go. It goes to show that it is a busy weekend across the board. So we can't
absolutely
can't win, can't lose on that one. So so there we go. Classic Sports Car Club race weekend. That's not a Castle Combe Racing Club weekend. So you've had no involvement in that one, have you?
No, we'll work with the Classic Sports Car Club to facilitate what they need to do. So generally we'll work together for the marshals and the admin within the building, so we make sure they've got what they need basically. But there'll be no Combe races on that weekend.
I shall be there though, so I'm not there for the summer spectacular, but I am back for that one. How bad's that? I feel guilty about that one, but yeah, I shall be over in David George's commentary box over in Old Paddock for that. Mark Werrell will be in the main one for that commentary box. He and I.
The problem is with that one, Chris, just so that the home championships know that if we ran on that weekend, we'd have to pay for the track time. So when somebody else hires a circuit, they obviously need to make money, and it was deemed, because of the way the years spread out, which isn't too bad as far as dates are concerned, because we got the early August one, 6th of August, it was better to not run at that weekend, which would cost us money. So
and let's not lose sight of the fact is that there's normally like a couple where it's other clubs that are running it. So it's done well that that's those guys doing that one. It will still be a cracking weekend. Classic Sports Car Club.
Yeah, they have great weekends, don't
good.
they? Big field,
absolutely.
Big grids. We got to work with.
I travel around with them a little bit, so it's good fun. They are good, so it'll be a good weekend for everyone to catch up on. Saturday, the 6th of August, Combe Carnival Race Day. Is that TCR?
That is TCR, yeah. And I spoke to Stuart Lines today, funny enough, and he's hopeful that he's going to get 32.
Or Steve's gone there. I got a feeling Storm Eunice is starting to come in and affect this connection at the moment. Oh, there you go. You're back again. I don't know if I'm honest, right, Steve, because it kind of is refreshing everything. I got a feeling Storm Eunice is starting to, it says it's fairly unstable. So it may well be at my end, but that doesn't make sense. But let's carry on. Is that, yes, that.
So the 6th of August is TCR or TCR UK, because they are now got championship status. And speaking of Stuart Lines today, he's hopeful of 30 car grid, which is a great problem to have, because I have no idea how we're going to fit all the Arctics and stuff in the paddock. And he's also bringing his Civic Cup, so he wants to, it is becoming a TCR touring car type thing. He wants to big it up and make it bigger and take it places, which he seems to be doing very well. and it will be probably one of the busiest events in the paddock, if nothing else. And I think you were there last year when they came, and they had two, split grid with the TCRs and the Volkswagen Cup.
Yeah.
This is purely TCRs now. So.
And some pretty interesting names that are racing it. If anybody is unsure, go and check out the TCR Facebook group and TCR UK, Facebook group and everything. Honestly, it's gonna be a whole other level. I mean, Joe Coffin's made a comment: 30 TCRs in the pit lane. Gasp! Absolutely. I mean, because they set up that sort of. I don't know how they're going to do it that many, really. But.
We set that up last year. Myself and the TCR guys, we set it all up on the the day before, and I've already had that conversation. If they have got 30 cars, absolutely fantastic. But I don't know where we're going to put them all if they want to do the same things again, which they probably will. But they want to do a grid walk. They want to do this. They want to do that. So Stuart's got these ideas that he wants to put into place, and we've left a little bit longer at lunchtime so that he can have all the cars hopefully on the grid, and the public can get and wander around. Wow. And bit of signing of very much touring cars, and I'm sure he's not going to sort of deny the fact that he's trying to make it very similar but a lot cheaper, obviously. But for us, I think it's probably, as far as high profile goes, probably one of the most high profile things we'll have all year. And hopefully
special.
Hopefully so, yeah. I mean, they do want certain things, and it's going to be hard for us at Combe to accommodate. Those 30 cars are bringing 25 transporters, and that's just TCR. So then we've got to try and accommodate our home championships and series, and obviously the Civic Cup. So it's going to be a busy one. But if we want to grow and want the circuit to grow, then we need to try and attract that sort of thing, and hopefully they will stick to the circuit as well. Not trash it. I'm sure it's Les that's having kittens about that one.
You're going to be putting like the tyres on the apex of some of the corners again?
No.
Because we did do that, didn't we, when they were there?
We did, and then the first corner, the first lap, they hit them, didn't they? And they went all over the place. And tires on corners are dangerous. We all know that. And Motorsport UK are very against it on all corners. But we've obviously got tires at the chicanes, which especially the Formula 4s don't like. They're not ideal, but it's a means to an end, because otherwise we just go back to all the problems we have with track limits and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I think honestly, the TCR were much better behaved last year than they were the first year they came. They just seemed to be a bit calmer and a bit more professional about what they were doing. I don't know if they'd had words or whatever, but I mean, 30 TCRs going around Quarry is going to be quite a spectacle.
I cannot wait. People say is that when I get excited, I go supersonic on the microphone. I think it's fair. I'm probably going to be right up there for that one. It's going to be epic. Someone who knows that, Sam Strong, lives a stone's throw from Brands Hatch. Hello, mate. Great to hear from you, buddy. I can't wait to catch up with you. There's that gin, Dawsey. Yes, it is, mate. Look forward to seeing you at American Speedfest. See you there, mate. I'm sure I'll see you before then. I'm at Brands Hatch a good few times this year as well. Next one, just so you're aware, and it's not something we're going to be able to talk about now, but on the 20th and 21st of August, we got the Motorcycle Grand National race weekend. I'm right in saying we can't really talk much about that, am I, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I don't get involved in bikes. They're, no. They two wheels and they fall off a lot. That's all I know.
I would love to, and I know that Martin will be on the mic for that one, and I'm hoping to one day get involved in that, because I do love the bikes. They're awesome. So if you've not been, 21st of August, the Motorcycle Grand National Race Weekend, absolutely brilliant without question. 29th of August, Bank Holiday Monday, Combe Countdown Race Day, Steve.
Yeah, that's HRDC. Coming back again, so same as they did last year with their All Stars Jack Sears Trophy in the Classic Alpha. So they put on a good show last year with some really special cars. They loved the day. That does, well, it doesn't actually clash, but that is when they've moved the Silverstone Classic to that weekend, haven't they? So they wanted to come to Combe instead of all go into Silverstone Classic. So I think that's quite nice that they, Julius Thurgood is the guy that pushes that and runs all that. And he spoke to me earlier in the year, and they told him the date of the Silverstone Classic, and he looked at it with his competitors, and they decided they'd rather come to Combe. So
Wow.
Should be a good race day.
Well done, mate. That's absolutely brilliant. And
but I think the Marshall might struggle.
Just those, or with ours as well?
Ours as well, yeah. So and hopefully at the end of that day we'll run what has been the GT Challenge, but we're going to try and incorporate it into the Dave Allen Trophy, so it just becomes one race. So yeah, it'll still be called along the lines of the Dave Allen Trophy, but it may be the GT Challenge for the Dave Allen Trophy or whatever. There's a lot of discussions to be had around that, but obviously with Honda not being involved anymore, it seemed a shame to let it slip. Dave was associated with the circuit and locally, so we just want to try and keep the name going and the trophy going. So it seemed a good idea. That the GT Challenge didn't take off last year for one reason or another, so we'll try and sort of do a GT Saloon Challenge Dave Allen Trophy race. So hopefully try and get set it at a price where people do want to enter it at the end of the day, because that's always a problem. When people have been racing, is trying to get the cars to survive that long, and also money, and that because they haven't finished the championship, some people wouldn't want to race in it. But there is quite a gap between that one and the finals day.
No, exactly right. Yeah, no, that's cool. Ironically, and I didn't realize until that long ago, is that my David Lloyd gym, I use the spa there. One of the ladies up there is Dave Allen's widow.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, she's a lovely lady, and she tends to sort of go to the race meets when it's the Dave Allen Trophy as well. And
yeah, the family always come along and present a trophy. So, and there's a few people involved at Combe that have been involved with them and the family for a long time. So, yeah, it would be a shame to let it go. So, there's no reason why not. Just we can keep it going as a club. We don't need Honda's involvement. Got less and less, obviously, with the troubles they were having at the time.
So. Swindon's surviving without Honda's involvement. So can Combe, mate.
Absolutely, yeah.
Joe Coffin says, saw a great quote from the WEC race director today, which was, "Don't damage my garden," from his driver briefings. Use that for the TCRs. I like that. That's a good one. Kieran says, how do we get Gary Preble in a TCR car? That would be good, wouldn't it? That would be good, but I think he's going to he'd have to dip into his own pocket for that one. Sorry, but I would love to see that. I agree, Kieran. That would be absolutely wicked to see. Okay, 24th of September, and I don't know how much you can say on. I know you can, can't you? Autumn Classic. One day this year, isn't it? Not two.
Yes, single day. And I'm not sure if you're cutting out or me again, Chris, but it's a single day, and it's moved from its traditional first weekend of October, so that it doesn't clash with the Spa 6 hours, which has been a major problem for us financially over the last 2 years, because a lot of people were going to the 6 bar, and it sounds like they're keeping that at the same weekend, the first weekend in October. So we've decided to move the Autumn Classic to the 24th of September. So there'll be none of our championships or series involved in that. But
it's not the end of the year. We finish with our finals day, don't
we? Which will be a bit bizarre to actually have finals at the end of the year. But it will be.
The finals is the finals.
Absolutely. So yeah, it hopefully it'll work out fine. It's not obviously that far apart for our
1 week, isn't it?
Yeah. So a lot of work for us with the Autumn Classic is always our biggest event as far as admin's concerned, because they, the classic fraternity are fairly needy, but
and a lot of them as well, aren't they?
A lot of them, and obviously that will be the Formula 3 500s, FISCAR GT and Sports Car Cup, and there's a new a Curie Classic which is included in the Jags. So we sort of went out to all the people that were involved in the last couple of years. The grids haven't been massive, and we all know COVID had a lot to do with that. But we sort of went out and said, look, what people want to see is a lot of cars, a lot of classic cars racing at the circuit. And the Curie guy came to us and said, well, he's been running with the Jags, so he can bring what he's bringing, and the Jags can run within that. So you've got the Jags plus this Curie Classic racing, and obviously the GT and sports car people, Vanessa and Flavian, are launching the touring cars, Group 1 touring cars, which will be absolutely fantastic. Looking at what they're proposing, because they've got a huge amount of contacts, within that sort of classic fraternity. And I think if it's one of those things that on paper looks absolutely fantastic, and who doesn't like touring cars, classic touring cars especially. So if it takes off, and we'll go on a journey with them, but they're very keen people to get it make it a success, and if we can help them do that, then so be it. And also the HSCC, their new and I've forgotten the name of it, which is a bit embarrassing, but they've got a new series that was associated with Combe back in the 50s.
Awesome.
So that
is a special day. If anybody's never been to the Autumn Classic, go for it. I can't wait for that one. Actually, I'm not in the box. I'm out doing the interviews, and anybody who knows, the last time I was out doing the interviews for Autumn Classic, I was in some pretty interesting outfit, pretty Scooby-Doo and something like that. Wouldn't it look more like, to be honest?
We're expecting something that even more spectacular this time, Chris.
It's got to be done, hasn't it, mate? It's got to be done. So I am genuinely looking forward to that one. As Mike says, let's hope for decent weather. Agreed. By the way, Papa Pa says they do good breakfast fry-up at David Lloyd Gymkhris. I know, mate. Hey, listen, they do a good Eggs Benedict, and in fact, they do a pizza stack where you get 3 different pizzas and some potatoes as well. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's really healthy.
What sort of gym is this you go to?
They
went to gyms to get fit.
No, there's a sauna, there's a steam room. Apparently, the crazy people go upstairs, but I don't know. No, I'm only joking. I do spin classes there and all sorts. Honestly, it's crazy.
I thought you were going to say you'd never been upstairs.
It took a while. It took a while, mate. I was a member for a good while before I did. And then, of course, we've got Grand Finals Day on Saturday, the 1st of October.
Yeah, so it will be our home championships and series final day. So where the champions will be crowned. Hopefully, we'll take it to the end of the season. We won't get decided too soon. And Mighty Minis will be back.
It up no matter what, mate.
Absolutely, yeah. They can't all be done and dusted by then, surely. So yeah, the Mighty Minis will be back, and I think it will be their last race of the season as well. So they'll be having their final 2 races of the season. Monopostos are coming back with the Tideman Trophy, which again haven't been back for 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, and I like that because it mixes it together. It's they'll have finished their championship season, because the Monopostos I've covered a lot of times over the last however many years at different places, and they'll have finished their championship season, and then they have the Tideman Trophy that is over, I think, 3 different circuits. I haven't seen this year. It's either 2 or 3 different circuits.
Yeah, 2 or 3 usually. Yeah. So I haven't actually had a look to see if it's their last round then.
But they sort of mix more of them together in that as well, rather than splitting them out as much as they do the rest of the season. So it's really exciting. Yeah,
it's a bit of an all-comers type thing, isn't it? Anything single-seater goes, I think. So yeah, that should be good. And also the Intermark Silhouettes, which is Richard Culverhouse's new thing. So yeah, it's a good, again, 11 races. Should be a fantastic end to the season, hopefully.
And we know how good the Intermark Silhouettes are, because, of course, we've been enjoying watching Ollie Bull in our GTs in that orange and white Tigra.
Yeah.
And in fact, we also, what's his face, also rocked up with another Tigra at some point. In fact, I think we had a couple of different Tigras.
Yeah,
But
they came to the. I was trying to think. Yeah, they came together, didn't they?
Yeah, a green one and a yellow and blue one with a Union flag roof. I just remember them.
Yeah. So yeah, a good few of them getting around the circuit will be good.
They are good. They are good. They are wicked fun. First comment then, Steve, because I can say this, you can't, is that well done, mate. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, it just sounds like a fantastic season. People don't realise just how hard you have to work. Oh, there we go. That confirms it. Thanks, Emma. Of course it is. Russell Humphrey's one of them. The yellow and blue one's his, and Gav Bristow is the green one, sort of metallic green as well. Thanks, Em. The gin was kicking and I couldn't remember. You have to work so hard. I mean, I've always said it's like piecing together a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's. Sorry, you cut out again. Then it is. You know, I do it because I love it, and obviously now I get paid to do it as well. And I'm in the office twice a week, which is more than I used to be, so it does make it a little bit easier. But we've now taken on the minis as well, so it's just more work. But if we can get to the end of each race day and everybody's had a good time and people have seen good racing, that's why I do it, because I want to see good racing myself. Not that I get to see much of it, to be honest. Probably have no clue what's going on during the day most of the time when we're involved in race control or whatever I'm doing on the day, but it's quite satisfying to get to the end of each race meeting and think I did that. It's people have been entertained and everybody's had a good day or weekend. So
and I have to say is that I think that across the board is that, and I know we always have it, is that we have the complete spectrum of obviously the racing drivers themselves listening to what they've got played out, including what they're racing and what they get to see while on the days that they're racing. The spectators, obviously, what we've got going on at the circuit, which honestly across the board it just sounds so exciting. I mean, sure, the TCR is going to probably be the crescendo. I like the fact that's in the middle, but there's just so much excitement all around it. I cannot wait, genuinely. And of course, the mighty Orange Army that are going to be out there in no matter what the weather. They're the number one spectators because they're there helping to make the day work. And in fact, Tim Perry, one of them, says, sounding epic, Steve. Looking forward to the season. Well done on all your hard work. I mean, I think that's a lovely comment. Darren Duffield, one of our races in the Mini. It's looking like it's going to be a great year. That's what I want to make sure that you take away from this as well, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm in it because I love it. The same as you, Chris, really, and the same as everybody else that's involved in the club, running the club and involved with the club on the sort of outer edges, really. We do it because we love motorsport. I still marshal. I still go to Silverstone to marshal because I like to get away from what I do at Combe and actually stand on the bank and get physically involved. So I still do that, not as much as I'd like, but I do like to see the wife now and again. Not that she never complains, and she is actually marshalling herself now. But
she, I don't mean to stir, but she doesn't say the same, mate.
Yeah, I know.
I'm only joking. Jackie Fay says a jigsaw puzzle when you don't know what the picture is, but you know what you'd like it to be. That's brilliant. That is brilliant, Jackie. That sums it up. Sam Strong says, well done, Steve. I hope you can, and I agree with this, by the way, and I know he races in this. I hope you can get the BMW Compact Cup Championship there and back there because, of course, we have had them there. Combe is such a great track. I've missed it. Such a flowing and fast track.
Yeah, but believe it or not, I've already had that. I've already had that conversation about this year, and we couldn't make it work. So they are already penciled in for 2023. So there you go,
Sam.
Breaking news.
You'll be in my. You'll be back in my hood, mate. It'd be brilliant to see you back there. And the BMW Compact Cup's always brilliant entertainment.
This is always the problem. I always start the year with blank timetables, so I get given the dates, and then I just get blank timetables, and I gradually fill those days in, and I speak to the people that have been, so at the end of this year, and as people come, it's have you had a good time? Do you want to come back next year? And then there's people like the BMW Compact Cup. We've had a discussion, 2 or 3 discussions, and they generally get given their calendar by the club that are running them, and then they try and fit in a few other rounds and stuff like that, and it just didn't work this year. And there's several others like that. BCV8s didn't work out last year, are coming this year. So, you just try and juggle it around, because nobody wants to see the same thing every time. It is a juggling act, but there's a lot of stuff out there. We can't attract certain things, A, because of the noise, and B, because of the facilities. But we can keep attracting HRDC and TCR, and they're big players in the motorsport thing. So we can only be good for us. We just need to try and keep up.
No, love it, Steve. Absolutely brilliant. Thanks, Andy Abrams as well. Also said, good show, guys. Thank you for that. It's been an interesting mix of things. Emma Strawford says, looking like a great season ahead. Absolutely. Sam Strong from the BMW Compact Cup says, we'll be quiet, Steve. Yeah, absolutely. You're fine. You're fine. Although you're not quiet, Sam, at all. You're never quiet. But it just brilliant job, mate. I don't know about you, but I'm like super, super excited. 26th of March is kind of like the next starter pistol that will be. Well, sorry, let's go back. Is that we've got, what did you say it was, the 6th of March, the Marshals?
6th of March is the main training day for the Marshals, on the Sunday.
So that for the people that really matter, that's the first starter pistol really there. Then the 26th of March, when we've got the media and the track day and the awards in the evening, that I shall be hot telling it back from Silverstone to get back for that before heading back for day 2 at Silverstone on the Sunday. And then, of course, we get to Easter Monday and we get Howard's Day, and we're really underway. And it's just such an eclectic mix. Our very own newbie Kat has said, looking forward to being part of this. And that's lovely to hear. And that's exciting itself. Tim Perry says, awesome show, Dawes and Steve. Good to hear what is coming up this year. I will be there. The good news is, Steve, so will we. Yeah. Because otherwise, if you're not there, mate, it don't float.
Well, I mean, hopefully, we've done our bit. So all we need now is the guys to turn up and race, really. If that's the only worry we get at this time of year is that nobody's going to turn up and race. So the circuit's there to be raced on. So if they want to turn up and race and have a good time, then we've done our best. So most of my job is done. So I can sit back and relax, he says.
That's not fair. Not believing. I know that's not true. But Matt Cole, the Saloon Car Championship coordinator, says this is looking like an awesome season. It's been 2 years of chaos. Believe you me, mate, you don't know the half of what's been going on behind the scenes. I can tell you it's been horrific for the whole team. Thank you, Steve, for hard work. Can't wait for my 6th season with the Combe family. And I echo that, Steve. Thank you so much for your work. As a fan, first and foremost, is that I'm absolutely ecstatic with what you set up there. I can't wait for it to get going, and I'm buzzing now. I don't know about you. I'm buzzing now that we've kind of rethought about it all again.
Yeah, I think every time you play that montage, when you start, you play the montage with the music, and it gets you. And hopefully, I've got a new one. I need to check tomorrow. So we got last year's montage, so that people don't see the same thing.
Well, make sure I've got it then, all right? Because then I can play it.
I've got to make sure I've got it first. But yeah, when you play that sort of thing and you look at it and you see the cars on the circuit, you just can't wait. And it seems like a long way away, but we know we've got a Zoom meeting on Monday about Marshall's training day. The team working behind the scenes. There's a big team of people that get together, and we've been doing this all winter, preparing for the Marshall's training day, which bizarrely most of the effort at the moment is going into the media day, but the Marshall's training day is before that, so it's only a few weeks away. So there's a big push behind the scenes now, and thanks publicly to all the guys that are involved in that, because there's a lot of work that goes on in all these events behind the scenes. But we're all in it for the same reason, and I'm just happy to be part of it.
And that includes, thank you, Richard. Get well soon, Richard Beard, and all the work he does, obviously, as the head of the Marshals. Chris Mason says, looking forward to the year ahead. And incidentally, for those who don't know, Chris Mason's on the Castle Combe Racing Club board as well now, which is brilliant from the medical side. Wicked to have you on board, mate, because we know another one that cut him in half and he'd bleed Castle Combe in reality. Steve, anything else that you need to add for all of the...
I don't think so, Chris. No, I think we've covered it all. Hopefully people will enjoy the show we put on and the show that they put on. So, yeah, nothing else to add. Thanks, mate.
Well, the perfect thing. Pete Spiller says, evening, gents. Apologies for being late. I hope I haven't missed anything. Not at all. That was the
Nope.
show. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. And a very good evening to you all. Thanks, guys. Have a great coming up weekend. We're starting soon.